Have you ever done something good and realized too late that someone was keeping score? They tell you to be kind, to help strangers, to show compassion when the world has forgotten how. But no one warns you that kindness can be a beacon in the dark, and that some things in the shadows are drawn to light. This is the story of how I learned that lesson, and why I now sleep with my lights on, my door triple locked, and my phone within reach. Because she's still out there, and she thinks I belong to her. It was a Tuesday in October when I saw her again. The kind of gray afternoon where the sky looks like television static and the air tastes like rain that never comes. I was waiting in the riverside parking structure, 6 levels of concrete and flickering lights that always made me uneasy. My friend Dylan was supposed to pick me up 40 minutes ago. I texted him 3 times, no response. That's when I noticed movement near one of those temporary kiosks on the ground level. Someone was watching me. She stepped into better light, and recognition hit like cold water. Vanessa. We'd worked together 5 years ago at a digital marketing agency downtown. She was the kind of person who existed in peripheral vision. Quiet, always punctual, the type who brought homemade cookies to the office and remembered everyone's dietary restrictions. I'd forgotten about her completely until that moment. When our eyes met, her face transformed. The smile came too fast, spread too wide, like a mask being pulled on. "Oh my God, is that you?" She rushed toward me with her arms outstretched. The hug lasted 7 seconds. I counted. What are the chances? Her voice had this musical quality, each syllable perfectly formed. I work here now. Well, temporarily, just until something better comes along. We fell into small talk. She asked about mutual colleagues I hadn't thought about in years, spoke their names like they were intimate friends. Her enthusiasm felt pressurized, like something building behind glass. "So," I said, trying to fill an awkward silence, "you seeing anyone these days?" The smile froze on her face. For just a moment, something else looked out through her eyes. "I have someone," she said, softly. "He's absolutely perfect, my soulmate." "That's great. He loves me too." Her hand drifted to her purse, fingers tracing its edge. "He just doesn't know it yet, but he will. I'm making sure of that." I laughed nervously. "What does that mean?" "I visit him sometimes, at his house. I have keys now. I made copies. It's easier that way." She said it like she was discussing grocery shopping. I know his schedule, when his mother goes to her book club on Thursdays, when he's alone. The parking structure suddenly felt very empty. "I keep protection with me, of course." She patted her purse with maternal affection. "Sharp things, beautiful ones, just in case anyone tries to interfere with what we have." My phone buzzed. Dylan, outside. "That's my ride. Great seeing you." Her hand shot out, gripping my wrist. Not hard, but the temperature of her skin was wrong. Too cold, too dry. "We should do this again." Her pupils didn't dilate, didn't move, just fixed on me like cameras. "I feel like the universe brought us back together for a reason, don't you?" "Sure, yeah. Take care, Vanessa." I pulled away and walked fast to Dylan's truck, that primitive part of my brain screaming to run. "Sorry I'm late, man. Traffic was..." Just drive. You okay? I told him about Vanessa. He barely looked up from his phone. Dude, that's the chick from your old office, right? The one who made that scrapbook for someone's cat's birthday? Different person. They're all crazy. Forget about it. So I did. That was my first mistake. 9 days passed. I didn't think about Vanessa once. Then Dylan picked me up from the same parking structure on a Friday evening. As I approached the truck, I saw the man. He was older, maybe late 60s, leaning against a concrete pillar like it was the only thing preventing him from collapsing. His skin had a gray pallor, and his hands shook so violently I could see it from 15 feet away. "Excuse me," he called out weakly. Do you have anything sweet? Please, I need—" His knees buckled. "Not this again!" Dylan shouted from the truck. "Just get in!" But I'd seen that look before. My uncle had diabetes. I recognized the signs. I caught the man before he hit the concrete, lowered him down gently. His medical bracelet confirmed it. Type 1 diabetic, insulin dependent. "Call 911, I yelled to Dylan. "Are you serious right now? We're already late for—" "Call 911. I found a Gatorade in my gym bag, lemon lime, still cold. Some peanut butter crackers left from lunch, a small pack of Reese's Pieces I'd forgotten about. "Hey, stay with me," I told the man, tilting the Gatorade to his lips. "Help is coming." His hands were too weak to hold the crackers, so I broke them into small pieces, feeding them to him one at a time. His eyes were wet. He kept trying to speak, but couldn't form words. The ambulance arrived within 6 minutes. "You probably saved his life," one of the paramedics told me. "Another 10 minutes and this would have been a different scene." The man squeezed my hand before they loaded him into the ambulance. His grip was stronger now. He managed 2 words. "Good person." His daughter called later that night, said he was stable, recovering, said I was an angel. Dylan dropped me off at my apartment without a word. He texted the next morning. "Can't hang out anymore. What you did was messed up." 23 years of friendship, gone, because I helped a dying stranger? I should have been angry. Instead, I just felt confused. But confusion turned to something else 2 nights later. The knock came at 11:47 p.m. 3 soft taps, 5-second pause, 3 more taps. I looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. But something at the bottom of my door caught my eye. A paper bag, brown, folded at the top. I opened the door carefully, looking both ways. Nothing, just that bag sitting on my doormat like an accusation. Inside, a bottle of lemon lime Gatorade, a pack of peanut butter crackers, Reese's Pieces, and a note on lavender paper, written in perfect cursive. "For when your sugar gets low, you give so much to others. Someone should give to you. V." My mouth went dry. I hadn't posted about helping that man on social media, hadn't told anyone except Dylan. The paramedics didn't know my name. Even the daughter only had my phone number, not my address. So how did Vanessa know? How did she know what I'd given him? And how did she know where I lived? I triple-locked my door that night and pushed my dresser against it. Sleep came in 15-minute intervals, my mind replaying that conversation in the parking structure. I visit him sometimes. I have keys. At 3:33 a.m., my phone screen lit up the dark room. Unknown number. "You're too kind for this world, like an angel walking among us." My hands were shaking as I typed, "Who is this?" The response came immediately. "You know who I am. You've always known. That's why the universe brought us back together. Another message. I saw what you did for that man, how gentle you were, how you fed him like a baby bird. It was beautiful. You're beautiful. I stared at the words, my skin crawling. She'd been there, watching from somewhere in that parking structure, recording, documenting. Another text. I met Dylan today. He said terrible things about you, called you a bleeding heart, said you embarrassed him. No, don't worry, my love. He won't say those things anymore. He won't say anything anymore. I called Dylan straight to voicemail. I called again and again, 6 times. At dawn, his wife's voice came through my phone, cracked and desperate. Have you seen Dylan? He said he was going to grab takeout last night and never came home. His phone is off. I've called everyone. Please, if you've heard from him. They found Dylan's truck 4 days later, parked on the 4th level of the Riverside parking structure, right where I'd met Vanessa. The doors were unlocked. His phone was dead on the passenger seat, plugged into a charger that wasn't connected to anything. His wallet, keys, and jacket were still inside. A takeout bag from the Thai place on Spring Street sat in the back, the food still fresh enough that it hadn't started to smell. The security footage showed him parking at 9:52 p.m. He got out, looked at his phone, then walked toward the stairwell. After that, nothing. The stairwell camera had been spray-painted black 3 weeks earlier. Maintenance had submitted a work order but hadn't gotten to it yet. When I told the police about Vanessa, they listened with the kind of patient skepticism reserved for hysterical witnesses. They took notes, asked for her last name. I couldn't remember it. They checked the kiosk where she'd been working. The owner said she'd stopped showing up 2 weeks ago, left all her things, never collected her last paycheck. They visited her last known address, a studio apartment in the warehouse district. The landlord said she'd left suddenly, middle of the night, owing 3 months' rent. When they entered her apartment, they found the walls. Every single inch covered in photographs. Pictures of Dylan, his truck, his house, his wife at the grocery store, and pictures of me. Hundreds of them. Some from years ago, from the old office, from the coffee shop across the street, from a work happy hour in 2019. Others were recent. Me at the gym, me at the grocery store, me carrying groceries to my car, me helping that diabetic man, captured from 7 different angles. On her refrigerator, held by a magnet shaped like a heart, was a yellowed newspaper clipping. Man found dead in storage unit. Ex-girlfriend questioned. The article was from 2017. A man named Thomas Chen, 34, found deceased in a climate-controlled storage facility in Portland. Cause of death, dehydration and starvation. His ex-girlfriend, who'd rented the unit, claimed he'd abandoned her without explanation. The woman in the mugshot had different hair, a different name, but the eyes were the same. She'd been convicted of involuntary manslaughter, served 18 months before the conviction was overturned on a technicality. The detective, a tired-looking woman named Sarah Huang, sat across from me in the interrogation room. Has she contacted you since Dylan disappeared? No. Has anything unusual happened? Gifts left at your door? Hang-up calls? I hesitated, then told her about the Gatorade. Detective Huang looked at her partner. Something passed between them. What? I asked. Dylan's wife found something on their doorstep 3 days ago. A bottle of lemon-lime Gatorade. She thought it was from a neighbor. Drank half of it before... Before what? She's in the hospital. Severe stomach cramping. They're still running toxicology. They never found Dylan. The case is still technically open, But I've stopped seeing Detective Wong's number appear on my phone. The investigation went cold after 4 months. Dylan's wife moved back to her hometown in Montana. She won't take my calls. I've moved 3 times in the past year. Different neighborhoods, different security systems. I never use the same route twice. I park in different locations. I don't go to that mall anymore. But it doesn't matter. Last week, I found a Gatorade outside my new apartment door, lemon lime, unopened. 5 days ago, I was at a coffee shop I'd never been to before, 12 miles from where I live. When I went to pay, the barista said someone had already covered it. Who? A woman, really polite. She said you two were old friends, said to tell you she's proud of how kind you still are. Yesterday, my new neighbor, a college student named Marcus, asked if I knew the woman who'd been in our hallway late at night. What woman? I saw her around 2 a.m. when I got back from work. She was standing outside your door, just standing there. When I asked if she needed help, she smiled and said she was waiting for her boyfriend. Then she asked which apartment was yours. I don't sleep anymore. Not really. Just 20-minute intervals of unconsciousness that feel more like drowning than rest. I keep every light on. I check the peephole every 15 minutes. I have 911 dialed on my phone. And late at night, when the building is silent and the world feels like it's holding its breath, I hear it. 3 soft knocks. Pause. 3 more. But when I look through the peephole, no one's ever there. Just a shadow at the edge of the frame. A silhouette stepping backward into darkness. Waiting. She's always waiting. Because in her mind, I saved a life. I showed compassion. I proved I was worthy. And now, I belong to her. The police never told me this, but I found out through Dylan's wife's sister. They did recover Dylan's phone, and when they finally cracked into it, they found his last text message, unsent, typed at 9:54 p.m. on the night he disappeared. That girl from your office just walked past my truck, the crazy one. Why is she here? She's staring at me through the windshield. She's not blinking. I'm gonna tell her to fuck off. Call you after. That message was never sent. 3 days ago, Detective Huang called me for the first time in 6 months. I thought you should know, she said quietly. We found something in that storage unit she'd rented, the one in Portland where they found Thomas Chen. What did you find? A long pause. Personal items from 7 different people. Driver's licenses, phones, keys to houses we can't trace, and journals. Dozens of journals describing relationships, marriages, futures together. Jesus. None of these people reported missing persons. We're trying to track them down, but we can't find 4 of them. What are you saying? I'm saying you might not be the first person she's convinced she's married to. And I'm saying that based on her journals, once she decides someone is hers, she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. Last night at 3:33 a.m. exactly, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No area code I recognized. Just a photo. Me, asleep in my bed, taken from inside my apartment. And a caption. You look so peaceful when you dream. I promise I'll always keep you safe. Forever. Your V. I'm writing this from my car. I left everything behind. My apartment, my belongings, my life. But I don't think running matters anymore. Because the truth is simple, terrifying, and inescapable. I showed kindness to a dying stranger, and she was watching. She's always watching. And somewhere in the dark, she's still keeping score. If this story unsettled you, you're not alone. Sometimes the scariest monsters don't hide under beds. They hide in plain sight, behind pleasant smiles and kind gestures. If you enjoyed this psychological horror story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more true horror narrations. Share your own unsettling experiences in the comments. Have you ever felt watched? Ever had a kind gesture turn into something you couldn't escape? Drop a bowl in the comments if you're watching this late at night like I know you are. And remember, stay safe out there, because sometimes the wrong person sees your kindness not as a gift, but as an invitation. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your lights on, and your eyes open. Because you never know who's keeping score.